So welcome everyone to the Next Generation Career Success Video Summit. And I'm here with Carol Roth, business strategist and New York Times bestselling author of The Entrepreneur Equation. So welcome, Carol.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a delight to chat with you again.
I have the book here. I kept my copy of the book. It's so funny.
Good one. You've got the one that has the little yellow starburst that has all the accolades. That must be a third or fourth printing of it because the early ones didn't have that.
Yeah, no. So I have my copy, and I was so bummed when I saw you at the book conference this summer. I had meant to bring it specifically. I knew you were going to be there, and I was like, oh, I don't have it. Great. So I'm very excited for you to talk to our audience. A lot of our audience are entrepreneurs or aspiring entrepreneurs. And your book is kind of a cautionary book that not everyone should be an entrepreneur. So I'm curious to know what prompted you to write this type of a book. And for those who haven't read it yet, and I recommend that everybody read it, but for those of you who haven't read it yet, what are the key takeaways?
Yeah, it's an excellent question. So I know a lot of people have this bucket list, and on their bucket list is, I want to be an author and write a book. That was not the case for me at all. I never had any aspirations to write a book because if it's something that's really, really hard to do, sometimes I just get really lazy and say, I don't want any part of that. But what really prompted me to do it, as usually the things that I do, is I got pissed off. So I'm spending 16 years advising entrepreneurs, and I'll just give a few other snippets of my background because I think it'll frame it. I have helped companies raise over $1 billion in capital. I've done $750 million in mergers and acquisitions. I've done partnerships with my clients with everybody from Disney to Paramount to the pop singer Katy Perry. So I have been in and around businesses. I've advised well over 1,000 entrepreneurs in my day. And I kept getting these people coming to me wanting to start new businesses or new businesses that were struggling and they were having the same issues over and over again. And it seemed like the feedback that they were getting and the information they were getting in the market just wasn't credible. In a lot of cases, people were lying to them or that they were selling these 7 steps to success. And I'm thinking in the back of my mind, well, hey, we each have a different definition of what success means to us. So how could we all possibly follow the exact same path to get there? And business is so complicated, and we've got these different circumstances and objectives that change over our lives, and I just didn't think it made any sense. So I really wanted to put out some sort of a framework so that people could look at themselves, whether they're starting a business or if they had a business and they were stuck, or even if they were launching a new product or evaluating a job opportunity, a framework that made sense to them, that said, this is my situation and this is how I feel about things and this is my risk tolerance and this is the specific opportunity I'm evaluating and how do I make sense of this whole puzzle rather than follow these 10 steps and you'll all of a sudden be a millionaire overnight because they just thought that that was a bunch of BS. Right. So I went into the market and I did this research and I went, there's no book that's like this. Like, how is this possible that you have all of these books selling the magic bullet secrets and nobody's really uncovering the myths and exposing the dirty secrets and creating this framework for people? And I went, well, okay, well, that's why there's an up to 90% failure or failure to succeed rate, depending on your semantics, within 5 years. And so that really prompted me to, as I like to call it, vomit on a piece of paper. And that vomiting became 80,000 words. And I went, okay, well, if we've gotten that much, this probably makes sense to deliver in a book instead of in a series of blog posts or video or, whatever other mechanism. So that's when it became a book. And from there, everything was kind of backwards. So that was what prompted me to write it. And in terms of the takeaway, I just really wanted to be realistic and I really wanted to provide the framework. I wanted anybody, regardless of what position they were in, to be able to go back and have a mechanism that made sense for them, to take a look at not if they were able to do something, but more if they should. Because I was finding that a lot of people were making really bad trades in their lives, that they were putting time and effort, and I have done this as well, so this is personal therapy too, but putting time and effort into projects that just didn't have a payoff that made sense for the amount of time that they were putting into it. And I actually drew a lot of inspiration from my own mother, who had a gift basket company. She was like a pioneer back in the 1980s, and over the course of 10 years built up this business to the point where she was making $4 an hour. And she was paying me and my sister more money to babysit, you know, during that time than she was making from the business. Yet she was spending, you know, 50 hours a week and 50 weeks a year and pouring her heart and soul into this business, and ultimately had a life change, had to take care of herself and couldn't, and had created no value over this 10-year period and just had to abandon it and get a job. So all those things really inspired me to give people just sort of the reality check, the gut check for themselves, again, based on their own experience. So it's really great for people who are starting out. It's really great for people who are stuck. And the really interesting thing to me is that it's found this new market, and the new market are these very successful entrepreneurs who are just identifying and going, oh, I'm so glad somebody's talking about this stuff that I go through all the time, because nobody understands it or thinks it's so easy, where they come to me and say, should I start a business? And I don't know what the heck to tell them. So I've gotten this huge, strange market that I never anticipated, because it wasn't necessarily the core message and market for the book, but that they've really glommed onto it and have been able to translate that in a way that makes sense for them.
That's amazing. So you mentioned $1 billion in capital raise, and you've advised over 1,000 companies. So you've seen obviously successful companies and successful entrepreneurs. So can you give us a few of the commonalities or the success traits that they share?